I don't know how to feel about the birds singing when I hear the ambulance sirens in the background. I am learning to count blessings by the number of eggs I still have left. 15. Or counting each and every one of my 9 cans of chickpeas, kiss and tuck each one to bed, fondle my 6, or is it 7 oranges? Okay, now 6.5 in the fridge. I grace each precious bag of flour with its own crown. I'm taking notes of all the details I didn't notice before, pressing my ears up close to the subtleties of life. Wind rustling through the trees and kissing my cheeks on the balcony. The sizzle of the pan after putting in frozen dumplings. How the sauce glistens in the sun, sparkling huajiao, a joy I did not know existed. Or the way my stomach clenches after my friends make me LOL. The way my teachers still smile, still try their best, even when no one responds. I'm sorry my camera is off again. Please know I am smiling too. The guttural sounds of the COVID throat test, fighting my stubborn tongue. I am trying to take it all in. The bittersweetness of enjoying my favorite season, indoors. Yearning for a change in scenery, making do sipping tea and only tasking myself to listen to silence and appreciate the mundane. I am trying to find ways to smile, even in oddities. I looked up the word for lockdown in Chinese, and it only listed 解封. I'm exercising voyeurism, perhaps too shamelessly. Watching neighbors water plants lovingly, and discovering another neighbor has a dog. So much to say about this life. I never knew. I always knew. The tenderness of check-ins and celebration of little victories with old friends and old teachers and new friends and new teachers too. Everyone so 贴心, leaving me 心疼. My breath, still trying to find its way to be heard.
To the poets that don't know that they're poets yet, here's what I want you to do. Bring your behind the mic, push past those nerves, shake off those shakes, and regurgitate all that hidden potential until your greatness spews into the stage and overflows into the first 5 rows and makes the crowd in unison go, whoa. The impact should counteract the chitter-chatter in the back, a hushed silence, and now you got our attention. The people are ready to listen, and the world is waiting to hear you, so make it good. No, make it great. I want you to shove magnificent metaphors in my mouth so I too can chew and spit that ish out until I get illegitimately, literally ill with alliteration. I want your voice to drown me the heck out. Give me that good pain like after a workout, because sometimes truth hurts and I can take it, so take the gloves off, baby. I'm asking you to treat me like a masochist. Spank my backside with your best piece of prose. Ooh, girl, I like it like that. Bulldoze through me like a freight truck and elevate my soul to new levels of surreal existence. I want you to wow me and arouse me. Whisper sweet somethings in my earlobe that sends chills down my neck. Give me an affirmation that feels like certainty. a poem wrapped around a prayer wrapped around a poem. I beseech you to tell me something new. Make me forget about all the garbage in my life, if only for a few minutes. It's okay to yell, but let it build, make it mean something, stretch vowels like jazz riffs and give me some variety. Cut it short and leave me wanting more, and if you're gonna sing, make sure you can sing. And finally, if you heard anything I said, replay it in your head and throw it out the window. Because you know as well as I know there's a million mother lovers that can do this better than me. Well, maybe not a million. But believe me when I say this is, was, and should never be about me, because in reality, this is about you and me and the beauty of our connectivity and the pursuit of extraordinary poetry. And yes, it's cheesy, but we need to be all that we can be. So please, show me. All that heavenly glory laced in every line, show me your divinity. And I promise, I respectfully show you mine. Hey!
They asked me to write them a black poem, to say nothing about my rape, even though it's midnight moon in the middle of the day to me, and the blistering bruises still resemble a purplish dawn suffocating. They say that it's dark, but it ain't black. They asked me to write them a black poem, but mention nothing about my womanness, unless a black male claws out of me with a neck full of noose and a face full of blue, and the rope tightens with his every breath. Matter of fact, they asked me to write eulogies for my son's death before he is born. Allow my daughter to bury herself. Let the sounds of her shovel become the background music to every black boy storyline. They asked me to write them a black poem, to make sure I urban speak, make my teeth porcelain projects, subsidy checks. Allow this anger to fly past my lips. Let it unperch from the roof of my mouth like a gargoyle, dragging its rage into the darkness. Let it become a stone in the morning, tethered to the neck of a nigga that is drowning in the vastness of a system that hates his ass. Forget that his mother, lover, and daughter can't swim either. They asked me to write them a black poem, and then erase myself.
I was about 10 or 11 when I learned what a metaphor was, and boy, my poetic behind ain't looked back since. I mean, it's just something crazy about how language has the power to elevate, to take the mundane and make it into something memorable, relatable, resonant. You gotta feel it. And not to be confused with similes, and sorry for taking y'all back to LA class, but with those, you gotta use the like, or as he was like a demon. I mean, his eyes were as cold as a winter's day. He probably could have froze hell over with the way he looked before he pulled the trigger. You get it? Nah, see, a metaphor is more direct, almost more solid, like it carries more weight. Like when I say his body was ice cold when I kissed him for the last time. The chill of death chilled on my lips for days after. Do you understand now? Oh, don't worry. I'll be sure you understand. It's like when I ask, what do I do when my hometown has become a graveyard? I can hear the dead calling my name every mile I get closer. They welcome me home, beg me to stay. It's haunting. The living call out to me when I leave. They say, take me with you. Sometimes I can't decipher between the two. It's heavier. Every day is a war. I heard a poet say she's seen the boys she grew up with become bullets before becoming men, and I can attest to the fact that that one ain't no metaphor. They say a bullet doesn't have a name on it, so then why have these been arriving at the doorsteps of these boys like it was signed, sealed, and delivered by the Reaper himself? You gotta feel it now. Life ain't no childhood game. When the game cops and robbers turns into judge and executioner, they've been playing hide and seek with the devil himself, it seems. In an endless game of Simon Says, big homie say he dead, one call and that's his head. I fear they've started to play God, taking people from this earth with the sleight of a finger. They're magicians. They wave their magic wands and poof, someone's gone. A disappearing trick before our very eyes. Watch carefully as the white sheet covers their bodies, and then all that's left is the blood that leaked onto the streets. Guns become a metaphor for power. Pulling the trigger becomes a powerful metaphor. Death becomes all too real. When did these boys become a metaphor for God? See, metaphors are easy. They make the hard things in life a lot easier to explain. Like, it's a lot easier to say life is a delicate flower than to say I hugged my brother one day and he was gone the next. The hood is a war zone. Than to say these boys have been dropping dead like soldiers. He was an angel. Than to say her baby boy was so good, too good for this world, so they took him from her. Do you understand now? Boys become bullets. Comrades and caskets, they're becoming amazing grace and gone too soon. So the only metaphor left is that it is what it is, really, beloved. If you are hearing this, it is not too late, baby. These are your flowers. And I pray truly you can take them while you are still here. So if you hear me, please choose another way. I don't want you to become a metaphor, memory, a past tense. Beloved, if you are hearing this, it is not too late. Please take your flowers now while you are still here, before they become a metaphor for just how much we'll miss you when you're gone.
Poetry because I'm here. Poetry because you're not. Poetry because there's a white dress in my closet with the tag still on. Poetry because sometimes white is black and wrong is right is left, and you left me. Poetry because it's been 8 months and I still can't write my way out of it. I can't writer's block you. So now my heart beatboxes like it's time to retire, like it fell out of the ring, same as my finger. Jab cross, jab to the ribs, see it grasp to the ropes, gassed, the heart can hardly pump, it's broke. And that shit's expensive. But there's no giving up for the listless lub-dub, gets up gasping, gives it one last uno dose. The old 1-2, too late. It lies there scattered, red ink bleeding through the page. And there's a poem in there somewhere. Poetry because sometimes my heart still hurts so bad that it's all I can do just to get off the floor. Poetry because sometimes I feel so empty, you could yell down my throat and hear an echo. My ribcage aches with the grief of this heavy waiting, but my love for you is light and free verse. Man, I loved you. I loved you in slant rhyme and sonnets, in 575 AM phone calls, in every context breakdown, line break, every breath between words. I loved you breathless the time you called my writing stupid. The night you left me sobbing at the grocery store, slammed doors to my face, and all the days you ignored me. That part's not a metaphor. Poetry because I gave you everything I had, Andrew. You had me jab, cross, hook, line, and sinker. I gave you everything. And this is how I take it back. Because you are not how my story ends. You are not calling off the seconds to an 8 countdown and out with your vow to having chokehold. I do not submit. Strike left, unmatch. If my words burn, the next chapter's lit. Because I'm here. I'm still here. The fighter's rising in my chest, and it's about to make a comeback.
Stop looking at the mirror to show you something new. Stop worrying about what everybody else sees. Whether you can rap off beat, smiling with your crooked teeth. Perfection. Perfection is based on perception. Nothing but a screen of insecurity that receives false projections. Children play pretend, adults play pretentious. I prefer you introduce me to your worst first impression than to do me, and I fall in love with the deception you presented. No, I know perfection in my life. I see it in my art. I feel it in the Bronx. It's my family tree on my sleeve with the old name spelled wrong. No good stories come from the gloss. They come from the mud. And to be honest, I fucks with your faults. I fucks with your flaws. I fucks with your foul. I love it because I can't judge it. I have a tendency to defile my own vows. My favorite parts of you are dirty. You worry most about the parts of your story that make you worthy. Purity is boring. Perfection is begging for mercy at the feet of heresy. Perfection is acceptance of the reflection the mirror sees. Perfection is honest. Hence why I don't look for perfect people. I only seek perfect moments. A commandment on a tablet written with the blood on the hands of Moses. Accepting is using broken language to perfect this poem. No, ain't that some dope shit? No, ain't that some yo shit? No, ain't this all Umi says most deaf, shining my bright light for the world to notice. The brighter the light, the more my flaws are magnified. Perfection is misdirection, magic, voila, right before your very eyes. Stop trying to obtain the unachievable. Just live in your reality. I prefer authenticity over audacity.
Eve was the first dissatisfied woman. Pulled out of the side of a man she had no choice in loving, she was the first thing to be born out of blood. A C-section. She was the reason for the very first scar. And she'd feel it. The place where the skin broke along his rib cage. Every night when Adam pushed between her legs, Eve would look up at the stars and run her hand along 6 inches of scar, thick on his torso. She hated to watch him bathe in the river. The way that scar would bend and stretch whenever he leaned down or turned to look around. It kept her from sleeping, knowing it was there on his side, just breathing. It isn't easy being so close to the wound that you came from, which is why we have such trouble looking into the eyes of our mothers. And it wasn't an accident. The apple. Women know. We know what we're doing when we bite down.
Drop me in the deepest, darkest part of the ocean, where even evil hides in fear and prey. The waters wash away my existence. You could never drown my spirit. Wrap my neck in the strongest rope your hands could find, pulling and suffocating until tears race down my face and wait for my fiery soul to separate from my body. You could never control my voice. Strip me of everything every human being deserves: love, respect, understanding. Leave me standing naked with nothing but laughter seeping into my ears. You could never take away my dignity. I am here. I am here to stay.
But now, I cannot die with people thinking I'm a criminal. I can't leave until this is straight. I can't go until y'all really know what time it is. Because God has cursed me to see what life should be like.
No longer deemed a human being, so what you're now seeing is state property. A 21st century commodity. A child of God made out to be a monstrosity. You see my shackles, but you don't see how the poverty locks my spirit in chains, or how a lack of equity and equality have my hopes go up in flames. I'm filled with animosity because this country has no shame. They stripped us of our culture and our God-given names. Now they're using the criminal injustice system to do the same thing. So here I stand, no longer a man, but reduced is state property. I was birthed by bigotry and corporatism fathered me. They tell me that in America, you can enjoy the fruits of your labor, but I don't see a pear in sight. Capitalism is leeching off of my labor like it's a parasite. I feel like God speaks to me and people can rarely bear the sight of my truth since they're new to it. We're the unlikeliest of messengers from God, but no less of a conduit. And people are quick to shun something when they see a conduit. And it doesn't matter who sits in the White House because there's no avoiding the hell that I'm facing. America has had 46 different masters, but it's the same old plantation. COs ain't nothing but overseers, and mass incarceration is how they keep us enslaved. In the time that I've been in here, I've learned to stop questioning God, and I've started questioning humanity. They look past my eyes and don't see the man in me. Busting my fist against this stone wall just feels like insanity, and no one wants to empathize with the calamity while corporate America is running my life single-handedly. And if this were a game of chess, then our colonizers would be yelling check because they constantly have our black kings in mate. Now companies are getting checks to turn our black kings to inmates. Y'all look at us and don't see people, so you consider us cons first. I'm not Chuck Taylor, but some will consider these words a converse. We're deemed as workhorses in free labor, getting paid pennies on the dollar, conceding so much paper. We might as well be considered as human fee waivers. Then they throw us things like tablets and phones, thinking that they're doing us a favor when they're really just exploiting us and our families, bleeding us for our paper. So I'll tell you what to take to the Senate. How they gonna give us free tablets and charge us to read by the minute? My entire life has been upended. People that look like me are more likely to be sent to the penitentiary and receive a death sentence, so I could care less if you're offended by my truth. We know that the death penalty has racist roots, but each part of this system ain't nothing more than poison fruit.
If God wanted me to be this person and be happy here, he wouldn't let me feel so oppressed. He wouldn't let me feel so trampled on. You know what I'm saying?
As kids, we joked about giving free tickets to the gun show whenever we raised our arms. But now, my brother's body is a fully stocked armory. You can hear the boom of cannons in his voice, a grand finale of fireworks in his laughter. His heart is trigger happy, chest an arsenal of pride. So when he leaves the house, I'm afraid anyone will mistake his melanin for gunpowder. Any gesture seen as reaching for a gun. His eyes turn gunmetal black when scared. It is hard to conceal his pain. I have seen the way America looks at him, like a wet dream, call him fetish and prey. My brother is a moving target. Everyone's walking excuse, a closed coffin ready for wake. I wish I could paint my brother any color other than chalk outline or mural, camouflage him into this world. Wish I could put a safety on his back instead of a bullseye, remind you he is someone's father, son, uncle, brother, instead of another bastard. Because after all the things my brother can be, America will always be the gun. Hatred, the bullet that eviscerates my brother's temple, turns his favorite streets into memorial and shrine, exchange his bright future for candlelight vigils. Maybe someday America will stay silent in its holster, will not see my brothers as a weapon, say they feared for their lives. And ain't that ironic, the way I fear for mine.